Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Connect Africa. So here we are again talking about the Ramaphosa and Trump meeting that was held in the Oval Office in White House. Pan-Africanists, media groups, different people have different opinion, but all in all, if we look at the South African government, it looks at it as a successful meeting. But while others say that Ramaphosa better have had a better team that could have defended South Africa when Trump tried or humiliated South Africa's constitution. Now, South Africa's Broadcast Corporation has invited Dr. Arikana Chihombori to comment on this. What's her take on how Ramaphosa handled President Donald Trump in the situation in general when that meeting happened in the Oval Office in the eyes of public. Let's watch it together.
It's been described by some, including President Ramaphosa, as a successful meeting, while others say it was, in fact, cringeworthy. How would you describe the encounter in the Oval Office?
Well, I think it was a step in the right direction for President Trump to invite President Ramaphosa to come to the White House to discuss issues to do with trade, first and foremost. The other issues that were discussed pertaining to the genocide, I'm hoping that they were secondary to the primary reason why he went to Washington with his team. On a separate note, I view this trip and the treatment that President Ramaphosa received from the US government as a perfect example and a reminder to the African leaders that this is a new day, that this is a new game, that they need to re-strategize the manner in which diplomacy used to be handled. That game is over. This is a new game and it needs new strategy. The manner in which they were treated is a reminder to the African leaders that before you go to meet with President Trump, with other Western leaders, you better make sure that you have a team that is prepared, a team that knows their game, from the political to the social to the economic to trade. I just feel that the team that was with President Ramaphosa was not prepared for what they received in Washington. They could have done better. There were white people in the team who could have refuted what the information that President Trump had been given. When they showed the photographs of all those crosses along the road, who creates a grave site along a highway with crosses so close to each other? By virtue of looking at it, that was not a grave site. And yet, the people who were traveling with President Trump, one opportunity after another, they failed to refute the false information. They failed to protect the president. They failed to clarify the issues of genocide to the American viewers who saw lies being told, misinformation being shared. The people, the team that traveled with President Ramaphosa did not perform well. And if they should have another opportunity to meet with President Trump, we expect them to do better. We expect them to be more prepared. And let this be an example and also something that the other African leaders can look to and say, should we have an opportunity to meet with President Trump, they need to be better prepared. They need to assemble their best negotiators, because for President Trump, it's about negotiations. may the best men win.
I want to get to circle back to what you've just said about being better prepared, and at the same time a message to African leaders in just a moment. But you speak about some of the members in the delegation. They spoke a lot about crime. At the same time, they're calling on the US to expand its investment in South Africa. Does speaking about crime and even the fact that how violent of a society they say we are, does this not deter potential investment into the country?
Absolutely. If you talk about crime, why did they go there to highlight the issues of crime in South Africa? If that was the case, why didn't the team also highlight the issues of crime in the United States of America?
Yeah, that's exactly the point. And when he talked about also genocide, well, they said, I mean, there is no genocide, they said, and the crime is committed across the country. But the thing is that they should have also brought, if there is a genocide, I think it's the genocide is against the Black people that are dying, the mothers, the children, the elderly people. If even numbers come out, it shows that it's Black people who are, the victims of this problem or this crime. Is so instead of that, instead of exposing it or explain or defending it, they chose to be quiet. So I don't want to interrupt. Let's continue with the question and answer from between South Africa's Broadcast Corporation and Dr. Arikana, and I will come back to you with my reflection.
Why was that not also discussed? Why is it that we can only highlight crime in Africa and not the crime in the United States of America? There's a lot of crime in the United States, but that was not the reason for the visit. The agenda should have been very clear. There was some digression here where issues that were not part of the agenda were discussed. President Ramaphosa came to the United States to discuss trade and also to justify and refute the false information about genocide in South Africa.
And
we should have
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of.
Pardon me, Doctor. When you look at what you say, a new day that requires new strategies, go there well prepared and be able to, state your case. How then do, South Africa, in fact, African leaders begin to do this? And I ask because there is a view that at times they go, to countries like the US with a begging bowl and simply not firm enough, not putting their best foot forward.
What the African needs to realize is that President Trump is about trade. They need to see this as an opportunity. President Trump is saying no more divide and conquer, no more regime change. President Trump is bringing in and ushering in a new era that says, let's trade as equal partners. If African leaders fail to come to the table, understanding that we have a leader who wants to deal and he will negotiate the best deal that he can for his people, and that you need to come to the table with your best and brightest negotiators and also ready to come up with the best deal that you can for your people. This environment has never existed in Africa since colonization. So if we miss the opportunity with President Trump to negotiate for the minerals, the wealth of the countries, for the better benefit and betterment of our people, it is a missed opportunity. President Trump is coming into trade. He is not playing games. He will play the games. He will do whatever he needs to do to get the best deal forward. Are the Africans coming to the table with the same attitude, the attitude that says we are coming with our best and brightest negotiators and we are going to come up ahead and do what is best for our people? And in our particular case, we are talking about beneficiation of our natural resources to an extent that Africa has never been allowed to do before.
Yeah.
If we go to the United States and we take people who are not going to negotiate well, just like the team that went with President Ramaphosa, then the joke is on us. President Trump is opening the gates for free trade with the Africans. The real question is, are the African leaders ready to go to the negotiating table with President Trump with facts and come up with deals that are equitable, or are they going to the United States with a ball in hand begging for peanuts? I hope not.
And how much of a coordinated, message, if one can use that word, does Africa need to have going to the US? And I ask because you say that it's time to come with facts at the table, make sure that everything you do is going to be benefiting the different countries. We've seen the continent speaking in different voices on a number of times when there would be conflict here, there would be issues there, and we see what appears to be a fragmented approach as far as the continent is concerned. How much more important now to have the continent speaking in a voice that says we are ready, that says we are now going to be having a unified approach that is going to benefit not only our countries, but the continent as a whole?
Well, the continent, first and foremost, they must realize, and I'm going to say it very bluntly, if there are any members of any administration of an African country that are not Pan-Africanist, that don't think like Pan-Africanist, that are not awoken enough, that are still afraid of white people, to the heads of states, I say, get rid of them. Because if you send those individuals who are still asleep, who are still colonized, they are the ones who are going to be scared. They're the ones who are going to think whatever deal is brought to us by the West is the deal that we should accept. So to the heads of states, I say, clean your administration. This moment is calling for Pan-Africanism. This moment is calling for leadership that says we have an opportunity for equitable trade with other nations around the world. We have an opportunity to begin to lead without outside interference. If President Trump stays with his agenda of trade and not regime change, this is huge for Africa. Let's not miss this opportunity. Get rid of your government administration members that are not Pan-African, because they will not make good negotiators for you. Realize that this moment is about trade. This moment should have been here decades ago after World War II. But because Europe had destroyed itself, they put in systems to steal from the developing nations, especially Africa, to rescue Europe. There was never an opportunity to treat Africa as equals, to come to the table as equals. President Trump, for the Africans, he is creating that opportunity. So if African leaders miss out on that opportunity and get lost in the bravado, the loss is yours. You owe it to the people. Come to the table. Here's an opportunity to reclaim your natural resources for the benefit of your people.
You do have a view by some who are saying that, the U.S. president doesn't see particularly the countries that he undermines as equals. In fact, for him, it is about showcasing how, the Make America Great Again, campaign for him continues, because they say that it looks like this is a president that's seen to be oppressing some, but also looking to be partners with others. And Africa is simply at the bottom of his list. How do you respond to those who are saying that he doesn't see Africa as equal partners?
Actually, I don't think President Trump is doing it because he wants to rescue Africa. President Trump is negotiating the best deal that he can for his people. I'm simply saying, when you look at it, it actually becomes a side effect, a positive side effect, a positive outcome. While he is moving his America First agenda, while he is focusing on trade, it is now also coming up to be an opportunity for the African leaders to hit the reset button and make sure that they take advantage of the environment that's being created, the environment where the leader of the most powerful country in the world is saying it's about trade, end of story.
Yeah.
May the best man win. The question is, Africans, with this environment, are you going to make sure that you put your best foot forward?
Do we have leaders currently in the continent who can do that?
Is it possible to learn any language by only watching movies? Let's be honest, who doesn't like to watch movies? And if we can learn a language on top,
this is why we are saying you need to wake up and recognize this moment. My biggest fear is people are going to get caught up in the bravado. So 49 white South Africans went to the United States. We have bigger issues to discuss. So are we going to accept and appreciate this moment for what it is? If President Trump can continue to push for America moving away from regime change, America moving away from divide and conquer and concentrating on trade, this is what we have wanted. We don't want aid, we want trade. Now, when we go to the negotiating table, the question then becomes, Africa, are you ready to put your best foot forward? Africa, have you assembled the best and the brightest negotiators that your country has? Africa, are you ready to beneficiate from your natural resources in a manner that you have never been allowed to do? This is the moment. For me, those two issues, Africa being able to benefit equally from the natural resources, going to the negotiating table on the world stage as equal partners. You see, you have to demand to be equal. But if you go to the negotiating table and you're scared and you are ready to accept peanuts, that's exactly what you're going to get. So this is not about President Trump. President Trump is creating the environment, but now it's up to you to see what you can do with the environment that allows you to negotiate as equals. President Trump is not going to come in and say, well, listen, we're going to be 50-50. No, you have to demand it. He's going to come in and say, I want 90% of your minerals. And if you're stupid enough to accept it, then the joke is on you. President Trump is saying America first. African leaders must all say their countries first. Go to the negotiating table as equals. Second issue that I'm also saying when it comes to President Trump's foreign policy, the second issue of abandoning regime change in Africa, that is huge. Single-handedly, that is what has destroyed African leaders. That is what has made African leaders fail in their abilities to rule effectively. So yes, going to the table as equal partners, and two, abandoning divide and conquer, abandoning regime change. Those are the two biggest wins that I will give to Dr. Trump, and I hope President Trump, and I hope he continues to push the two agendas. And I also hope that the African leaders are going to be prepared for this, for the fight ahead, and for the negotiations that are going to be presented to them.
Thank you very much for your time, and certainly quite a challenge, as you say. Get to the table and fight for equality. Be equal partners. Don't fight to get this, the crumbs. Because if you demand crumbs or you accept crumbs, it's all on you.
That's what you get.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. That was a
So yeah, as you have seen, Dr. Arikana Chihombori has raised 2 points when it comes to President Donald Trump. One is that, in both cases, she's emphasizing that the African presidents or heads of states need to take this opportunity not to see it entirely as a challenge, because he's all about MAGA, to make America first. So with that means indirectly what comes is he is leaving, meaning America is leaving this intervention in other countries. Not entirely, because we still see AFRICOM in Africa, but they will not be involved as they, this is her belief, not mine, but that's what she's saying. So because when he is says America first, then it gives automatically also for the other party who is coming and negotiating with him, whether it's political, security, or trade, then you also say, if you are coming from Kenya, Kenya first, South Africa first, Ethiopia first. So you can become with the same, you can have the same motto like him. So of course, if it's collectively, then you can say also, if Africa speaks as one, then Africa first, which will be more powerful. The second point is that President Trump is abandoning this, what America used to do, regime change in countries, and that is huge. So you have to take that opportunity, and you have to come on the negotiation table as an equal partner. I really doubt, even if you come with that, still, if America let it pass, but at least you have the ground, the opportunity, and the environment is created for any, heads of state in Africa to say so. Now let's go back and, talk about the Ramaphosa and Trump meeting. I mean, differently from Dr. Arikana Chihombori, I think it's mainly the mouthpieces that comes from the government of South Africa. They are saying that Ramaphosa handled it very well, and it was successful. What I think from all this, who got profited is Elon Musk. Elon Musk making sure that Starlink now will be licensed in South Africa. Before it was banned, before they did not allow him. He's the only beneficiary out of all this meeting. In fact, you have seen the other, I forgot his name, the other white man, not John Steinhausen, but the other one, literally begging Ramaphosa, President Trump, why Elon Musk Starlink is not coming to South Africa? We need it for our security. We can prevent all this crime. Why, President? Why? So, and you can see that Elon Musk on the side, who was standing with other people on the other side, he was like putting a smiling face. He's the one who got the benefit out of all this. So, with regards to team, I don't think Ramaphosa composed the team, even if he said he's going there for trade and looking for investment. I don't know how many investors he needs. My simple question is that, why not he's looking for these investors in China? What about in Russia? What about in India? Because you have close to 600 companies already in South Africa. Literally, these people, through indirectly in the hands of white South Africans, they are controlling the economy. Why not diversifying it? Because given South Africa's relation both to the global South, being part of BRICS, a founder of BRICS, a good relation with India, and then, those who are not really, with the West, you can diversify your business and economy so that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. I really do not understand why you have to go, to make thousands of them. Why you have already hundreds of American companies there. So yeah, anyway, so he said he went for trade, right? That's one. Even if he's saying he went for trade, and he was kind of surprised with that white genocide film that was played in the Oval Office with all lights turned off, as Donald Trump has asked. He knew exactly what genocide will be the agenda. He cannot play it as if he didn't know, because he spoke with Donald Trump regarding those refugees, the 49 white South Africans, these Afrikaner refugees who went to the United States. In fact, the idea of him visiting the United States came out of that phone conversation, because he talked about those refugees to explain they are not refugees, they are not under any oppression or suppression, because they are politically, economically, socially, they're, in the high standard in South Africa, so they by any means do not qualify to be a refugee. He said that, and then in fact he told him, I want to explain this, and he proposed a meeting. So he cannot say that he entirely went just for a business meeting. He knew exactly what was coming to him, and maybe behind closed door, which not really for us, for the public to consume, they talked about this even more in an intensive way, I believe. And Donald Trump might have told him, look, whether you like it or not, I am going to play that video for the world as me and you, all of us, watched it from our screen, or or through your phone, on your palm, right? So Ramaphosa cannot pretend that. That's my reaction on that. And then when that white genocide thing was played, Ramaphosa at some point, you see that he was, even his body language was a very, soft, the way he speak and the way his body, because everybody was watching on one side when that video of Malema was played in the Oval Office. And I'm laughing because what Malema said about that video, I remembered. Anyway, so yeah, he was very soft. But may I ask, Sir President, is that really in South Africa? Where is that graveyard? I mean, graveyards right by the highway, all, crosses. Where do you have graveyards by highway? I mean, left and right. Where is that? Thanks to Reuters, who identified that picture, what Trump has Reuters made a film about it and published article about it, and it was in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and that was debunked, right? Just 24 in less than 24 hours. And then even when that video of Malema played, he could have said that he could have defended not really Julius Malema personally, but the song that, kills the farmer, kills the boar, like pam pam pam, all that song. That is the song of South Africa. By the way, that's how they got rid of apartheid. Their song was as powerful as their gun. The song was as powerful as their arm or legs, whatever they used to fight. Ask any South African who has experienced apartheid, they will tell you the significance of the song, how they tortured the oppressors with their song. Malema and his party, even the MK party, the new opposition party, sing that song in the parliament. Winnie Mandela sings that song. They chose constitutionally not to erase that song. It's part of their legacy. It reminds them. So South Africa is not free. Let's be, honest about it. So as long as this oppression continues and this apartheid continues, because still most of the land still remains in the hands of these white Afrikaners, and economically still they are marginalized, the black people. Despite that blacks are much in number than the white people, but still the economy is in the hands of these people. So they will continue to use whatever means they have, to get rid of that. And he could have said, this is not invented by Malema. This is a song that we have. There is a lot of things that Ramaphosa could have said, but he was like, as we say in my native language, like a mice in a water, you cannot do anything. We're ashamed. It was so embarrassing. And it's not just that he embarrassed only himself, he embarrassed the entire black people in South Africa and in Africa. And he gave, his team, Dr. Arikana, talked about so much how it's important for those heads of states when they come and negotiate with Donald Trump, how it is important to come with the right team, which is, articulated, who knows what they're talking about, with who Ramaphosa came, Cyril Ramaphosa. He came with a DA party leader. All of those he invited to speak was 3 of them. I remember there were 4 people he invited. 3 of them were the white people, which have the same empathy and sentiment with those refugees. They said, yes, there is a crime, but of course they said it's not a genocide. And one of them actually said this crime is across the country, but they were all against Malema. And taking that, Trump built on, and he said, why don't you arrest this man? Now, Malema has to fear for his life, and in fact, he has increased security. Do not be surprised. I tell you this for a fact. Do not be surprised if the United States and the West now come and issue for Malema to be in the Hague, to be, his case to be seen by the ICC. Do not be surprised, because this seems, all this character assassination and demonizing the person seems, because we have all seen this playbook. It's not a new book for us. We have seen all those leaders in Africa who stood up against neocolonialism and colonization have been characteristically assassinated before they really, either CIA or anyone has assassinated them for real. So if the Malema is dragged to ICC to come to the Hague, do not be surprised. Or, in fact, if we hear that he's killed. So now he has increased, in fact, his security. He says he is not afraid. And he also, yesterday, in a stadium, again, he sing that song, Kill the Farmer, Kill the Boer. So this is what we have, and Ramaphosa knows exactly what he's doing, and it was all wrong, when he even created that government of the GNU, the Government National Unity, or the Union of Government, GNU or something, GNU, Government National Union, something like that. Yeah. After that election, because ANC has lost its majority in the parliament, and he chose to form coalition with the DA party, Democratic Alliance, because they also got a good vote, promising the African youth, the South African youth, that they will bring a job. We will see if that's going to happen or not. But so he created that unity with DA party, not with Malema, not with the other opposition MK, which he could have done, by the way. So he knows exactly what he's doing. So all this, South Africa was successful. Ramaphosa handled it well by doing that. He exposed the character of, Trump's arrogance to the world. Trump is Trump, and he's leading this great country. I mean, when I say great in terms of, yes, economically they might be powerful, but that allows him to be who he is. And guess what? You are intimidated by him, and you're not doing the right thing to defend your people and the benefit of your nation. I think that's what I wanted to say with regards to, relating to Her Excellency, what Dr. Arikana Chihombori raised on Ramaphosa Trump meeting. Let me see if some of you, if we can. I see Scooty, Obeya, who else? Timothy. So we must take off the colonizer's mind and ways of doing things and return to our own roots and ways. Our ancestors set for the original order in the earth, and it still lives in our DNA. Yeah, we do have it, but not our heads of states. I was wondering, I was expecting when the South African broadcaster journalist asked Dr. Arikana, who is capable of doing that in Africa, from the heads of states, what we have. Dr. Arikana could have said Ibrahim Traore. I don't know why she just let it pass, but yeah, I don't think any other heads of states have the courage and the manhood in him or in her, if she's a president, to say to those neo-colonizers, pack and go. Those are the only Sahel states who could have said, you know what, you have looted enough, you pack your bag and go. The only leaders as we speak. Yeah, so I don't think the others have anything. And guess what? Because the leverage that these Sahel leaders they have is they have nothing, you know, that they lose, because the rest of the heads of states, all these, you know, the Western countries, they have something to use against these leaders. So it's all about their personal interest. We are talking about a song versus the actual murderous behavior for centuries. How ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway, so that was it. I don't want to make it any longer than this. Thank you very much for tuning in, and let us know in the comment section what do you think of, you know, the points that Dr. Arikana has raised. Remember, she said Trump said America first, so the African heads of states can come, can do the same. And with this environment, they can also, you know, better negotiate. And what kind of strategy Africa has to use, you know, each one of them when they meet with Trump. Yeah, thanks again. And I will see you on the next one. Please share the video with others. Support us through our PayPal accounts. Those of you who are supporting, you know who you are. Thank you very much. We are grateful for that, and we don't take it for granted, but that helps us definitely to be here more often. So the PayPal link and Buy Me Coffee link, you can find it in the description section, but share the video with others as well. It's a bye-bye for me for now. Ciao.